Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to week 9 discussion. So we're in week 9 of the quarter, getting close to the end. And with the sunshine we've seen in the last few days, I'm feeling like spring is around the corner. So this week we're talking about speeches again and presentations. In our first question, we needed to give 3 good examples or 3 things that we liked, suggestions from the chapter, and then 3 that we did not appreciate or whatever. So my top 3 things that I appreciate and think are very helpful are, so first of all, practice makes perfect. So on page 505, the authors are discussing that when you practice your speech over and over, that helps you to be more comfortable. I think that practice writing your presentation is good. Practice organizing the presentations, and then also practice in creating and adding visuals. I'm not really good at that part and definitely need practice. I do have some opportunities to give speeches pretty often. It's usually over the same material, so I get a chance to practice it a lot, and I really know it well now, and I can give it even without probably the outline, just knowing in my head, but I do follow the outline and it goes much better. I've noticed that since COVID, I haven't given that presentation in person in a while. I have done it over like a FaceTime kind of thing or GoToMeeting, but I do feel like you start to even forget over just even a few months and need to get back into practicing. So practice is important. Number 2 is the use of presentation support and visual aids. I thought there were some very helpful suggestions in the text. So page 493 gives that topic, and then the rule of 7 I came across, I thought was really helpful. So 7 words per line in a PowerPoint or slide, and no more than 7 lines per slide. The idea there is that it's not too busy, it's not too much for the eye to kind of follow, and just keeping it simple. Keeping the formatting uniform, I thought, was also very helpful suggestion. The fonts should all be the same color and theme. And I have been in groups where we each added our own slides but did not keep the same theme. It does end up looking pretty choppy and unprofessional at the end. So the advice and recommendations given, I thought, were very useful and will aid in giving your presentation a much more polished look. Then the other one was the suggestion of presenting from an outline. So you need to practice from the outline because it's easy to kind of get confused or lose your place. When I'm nervous, I forget what I meant by my keywords. I use an outline, but then I also write out some things so I don't forget what I meant by that. For example, my breastfeeding class, that's the class that I teach often for the WIC program. When I follow my outline, everything flows better. I don't leave things out that are important, and I'm careful to, get to my main points. So it just works well to do that. Some suggestions that I guess worst suggestions, I didn't really find terrible suggestions in the chapter. The idea of sense of play on page 488 was a bit overstated, I think. I mean, it's not a bad concept, and definitely being relaxed is good for your presentation. It's helpful for people to follow when you're relaxed, but I just can't imagine equating giving a speech with play. So that just was a little out there for me. At least not my concept of play, which would be having a fun time. And I I don't have fun giving speeches. So then also video, for number 2, they suggested ways to use the video clips and audio clips, which is great. Obviously, we just don't use DVDs and CDs and cassette players. So I thought the book was a bit outdated in that discussion. And I just can't imagine that being helpful. And then lastly, never putting your hands in your pockets. I get the idea, it's unprofessional, but I think given a relaxed context in maybe just like a team meeting, to me that seems overkill. That when if a coworker has their hands in their pockets at a team meeting, I mean, even a speech, I don't think I would think about it, but maybe it's a subconscious thing that is kind of a hurdle to get over. Then number 2 were benefits and drawbacks of outlining a presentation. So the benefits are obvious. You've got your key points. You have a way to keep the the tone conversational instead of reading. As the book said, it's public speaking, not public reading. So reading tends to have a pretty monotone flavor and is boring, definitely. So with an outline, you're keeping your flow going and it's organized and easy to follow. Without the outline, you can easily lose your place. And then, like I said, your tone isn't great, easy to follow. Some drawbacks. So when I'm nervous, I forget what I mean by my outline often. So key points, I'm scrambling to kind of figure out what did I mean by that? What did I mean by that? Trying to hurry and figure it out. So it's almost better sometimes to have some sentences or, just more than just like a few key words, but having more information there. And then when I have presented without following my outline, I end up not getting all the important information included. So I kind of ramble on and get bogged down in the details. Besides that, the drawbacks are none. I mean, besides it takes time to kind of go through it and to practice it, but it's a good idea. So then the last thing was to discuss my best video discussion. As I reviewed my video discussions, I found them just kind of plain and boring. None of them followed the outline or suggestions about giving a speech. I don't approach the video discussion as a speech, so that would be why, I guess. Besides, I'm not great at giving speeches, but the discussions to me are just answering questions for the week. I kind of view it as how it would, well, it's called a video discussion, so I think of it as if we were in class, things that we would be discussing, which wouldn't be presented as a speech. But all that to say, I have room for growth there and improvement. The book on page 491 offers a simple to follow outline and a template for giving a presentation. It would have made my discussions more interesting had I done that. If I were to go back and do over, so using an attention getter, introducing the questions that I'm answering right at the beginning, maybe in just like a rough overview, using my work experience and home life experience to establish my credibility, and then making sure to highlight the main points, give lots of good support, conclude with something that's interesting that restates the purpose and gives a memorable ending. So with that said, I'll try better next time. Thanks.